Have you ever realized that you don't actually want the thing that you're looking for, but rather the feeling that you think the experience of having it is going to give you? The reason why I want you to realize this is because your brain, through thought alone, has the ability to elicit feelings in your body, which means that technically you don't need to wait on whatever it is you're waiting on to feel what you want to feel. And the brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's imagined. So through thought alone, you can get the same experience that you're looking for without needing the thing. And I'm going to prove it to you right now. I want you to imagine whatever it is that you've been waiting on, whatever it is that you tell yourself, once I get this, I'll feel this. Once I get this, I'll finally be successful, worthy, whatever it is, whatever that story you tell yourself is. Everyone has things that they're seeking, they're looking for. And now I want you to vividly step into your life as the person that has already gotten the thing that you're looking for. I want you to imagine right now what it's like to be the version of yourself that already has the thing you're looking for. And if you do this properly, you'll notice that you can actually feel what it feels like to have the thing right now. And you do it long enough, and you practice it long enough, you start to realize the attachment to whatever it is you're seeking, the feeling, will actually slowly start to dissipate, provided you're doing this properly, right? Because if you've already felt like, or if you've already experienced what it's like to have the thing, emotion included, then why do you want it anymore? Okay, and this works because we've proven that the brain fires in the same exact way when you're imagining something versus actually experiencing it physically. There's no difference. So you don't need to wait on the physical experience to get the emotional, mental, whatever it is, experience that you're looking for. Why is this important? If you keep waiting on something outside of you to feel a certain way, then you're always externalizing your life to your environment. And then if you eventually get the thing, maybe you finally feel like what it was like to get it, what you were waiting on. But that's going to fade very quickly. And all of a sudden, you're going to be looking for the next thing. And it kind of sounds like a drug addict that's always waiting on the next hit, right? And the problem is, if you always let your environment dictate how you're going to feel, then when it's good, it's good, and when it's bad, it's bad. And now all of a sudden, you're just bumping, stumbling around life, just reacting to everything that's going around and feeling more like a victim to circumstance, right? So, for example, let's take a relationship between you and someone. It can be a relationship between anything, but in this example, let's look at when you fall in love with someone. What you don't realize is you actually love the version of yourself that comes up when you're around that person, which is how you feel when you're around them, right? Because how you feel eventually leads to how you think, and then how you act, and it becomes your personality. So it becomes the version of yourself that you choose to be. So you just happen to come across somebody who brings out a certain feeling in you, a certain personality that you really like, and you associate, you externalize that version of yourself to that other person. And once again, the problem with this is if you end up separating from the person, it's going to hurt a lot more because you feel like a part of you was taken away. And this is why you keep thinking about that person for months and years, wanting to go back to that relationship, thinking it's because you want to be around that person, but rather you just want permission to be that version of yourself again. Well, guess what? You can be that now. The relationship, the other person that you met, simply taught you or highlighted, more like a mirror, showed you a version of yourself that you enjoyed, that you didn't even know was inside of you, but it was always inside of you. And now that you do know, you can decide to bring up those feelings. You can decide to be that version of yourself whenever, regardless of whether or not you're with that person. And now all of a sudden, the attachment to the relationship fades. Yes, you can still decide to be with the person because you enjoy being around them, but not because you need to. Because when you feel like you depend on them to feel a certain way, then once again, it's just another one of those mental prisons we've created where you're always dependent on something outside of you. Instead, if you realize that all they did was teach you more about yourself, then you get to enjoy the relationship as it is now, and whether or not it goes well, it's okay. You realize you'll move on. So, how different would your life be if you decided to approach everything as a lesson that teaches you more about yourself? Because you recognize that anything you want to feel, you don't need something outside of you to feel it. You can choose it at any moment in time. So all of a sudden, you don't need to rush. You don't need to get anywhere. You don't need to prove yourself. You don't need to seek things because you feel like you need them versus wanting them. And now, every moment completely transforms. Everything can become a magical, beautiful, transformative experience. Why? Because all of it is simply going to teach you more about yourself. And the more you learn about yourself, the more you step into who you want to be, then the more that gets projected back out into your external environment, right? Because the external reality is nothing but a projection of your internal reality. So the more you move into your authentic self, the more the world starts to reflect back that authenticity to you. And that's where you feel more gratitude. That's when you feel like things effortlessly happen in your favor to support you. And that's what we all want, right? So I want to end this with a quote, which says, I'm paraphrasing roughly, but it says, don't look for love, but look for the barriers that you've created in front of it. So you start to realize everything we go through is simply to teach us more about ourselves and break down all of these limitations that we've created to slowly dissolve it all and realize that you were everything you were looking for, just behind all of those walls, those masks, those barriers that you've put up.